Hello everybody, welcome to the third installation of UltraWide Wednesday. Today we are in the Vanishing of Ethan Carter Redux. Funny enough, I actually played this game, the original, that is, completely through for the channel and lost half the footage somehow. So ended up scrapping that project. But we're back in it today in 21:9 mode, the most recent version of it, the Redux. I'll explain what all that entails and everything. And so we're going to take a look and see how this looks in glorious 2560 by 1080p. So before I get into this fully, I just want to mention that this is one of those games, and it's kind of one of the, I think, the founding fathers of really kicking off this movement on Steam, especially of walking simulators. It's what kind of people are calling them. And a lot of that is derogatory terms because some walking simulators are pretty terrible and there's not actually anything going on, and they keep the same tone, and they just commit a lot of cardinal sins of video gaming that does not work well. This one is one of the better ones that I've played. I don't really enjoy these types of walk around, explore without direction type games all the time, but this one's pretty atmospheric, and it's just fucking gorgeous, so you can't help but be enthralled by the graphical fidelity. It does commit that cardinal sin of a lot of investigative, mystery-driven games that the story that you're trying to unearth is 10 times more interesting than the one that you're actually playing, and there's an extra, like, depth layer added on top of that by the time you get to the end of the story that will make you even more upset or angry, but I don't want to spoil anything in case you haven't played it. So, yeah, I'm not, like, hugely a fan of these types of games, but it's non-combative, and it is a different type of thing, and it's pretty short. I finished it in 2 hours, 100% all the achievements and stuff the second time I played through it. Took me about 3 or 4 the first time, just because I had no idea where I was going or what I was doing, but I think it was well worth running through it one more time, and but just don't expect to see many more of these types of open world-esque walk around looking at stuff games. I'm not really too partial to that. I got this almost free, like extremely dirt cheap. So that's really why I wanted to look at it, and because it has such a reputation for looking amazing. So just wanted to get that out of the way. As far as technical settings go, we have this completely maxed out from 2560 by 1080p. The only thing that isn't cranked up to the max is there is now an internal resolution scale that you can go up to 200%. I keep it at 100% because I just want native resolution here, and cranked up everything else. Now, interestingly enough, there are a lot of missing settings from the Redux version, but that's because the original version that released in 2014 was on Unreal Engine 3. This is on Unreal Engine 4. And you can go look up yourself some differences between the original and the Redux version. Honestly, the Redux version doesn't look like mind-blowingly different. It honestly looks a little bit more dull in some areas. Like there's some shots across the lake and stuff that I think looks prettier and more picturesque, like painting picturesque on the original release. But this one certainly does look more realistic. There's a lot better fidelity in some of the textures. The lighting seems softer, more realistic. It is overall better done. It's just not an insane overhaul. And to me, it was completely insane what they were able to do with the original release. I mean, this game looks amazing. Absolutely incredible. And what blew my mind is I wasn't able to play it at max settings on a 970 at 1080p when I first played this, which I didn't expect to. But now I'm playing it on 2560 by 1080 max, locked 75 frames per second, have it on adaptive sync, and no frame drops. It's not even using my GPU up to like 50-ish, 60-ish%. So I think the Unreal Engine 4 version is actually a little bit better optimized, and it really gives me hope going forward that even if there are, a lot of, action looking things happening on the screen and there's more real-time lighting and not just baked in stuff, that we could potentially run open world games that look like this, which is fucking incredible. I mean, this game looks, you might as well call this F12 simulator. You just walk around pressing screenshots all day long if you're like me. So it does look amazing. And like I said, performance wise, it's pretty impressive how much you're able to do with that little. So I don't think you'll have as bad of a time running it as you think you might. Also playing on an Xbox One controller. I played fine on keyboard and mouse last time, but for the sake of video, I wanted to have it video synced, so I didn't really like the input lag on the mouse, so I threw on my Xbox One controller, and lo and behold, it worked just fine. It's not like you need many buttons or anything anyway, and I think they ported this to consoles at some point, so I believe that's why there's now native controller support, which is always a good thing, because I was able to sit back and kind of, just chill and play this game. So without further ado, let's talk about the real reason we're here. 21 by 9, how does this game fare? Long story short, perfectly. There's no issues whatsoever. In a way, that's an achievement. In a way, I would be way more concerned if there were issues, but there's a lot of the times with AAA games where I think, why is that even a thing? Such as Batman Arkham Knight, they throw on black bars on a lot of in-game cinematics. I don't understand why. I've gotten used to the vertical black bars a lot of the times on 16 by 9 when they want to zoom in and make a more cinematic frame. And I guess that's okay for some cutscenes, but I'm going to go with the words of Jim Sterling here and say, these are fucking video games. They're not movies, so why are we trying to make them look like another format when they're not? So, but this game in particular has no out of in-game cutscenes where, it's a video stream or anything like that. Any time that there is like narrative going on with some of the characters, which incidentally look terrible now compared to the amazing environment. I guess that's just a carryover from Unreal 3. They couldn't budget like better looking faces and stuff. But anytime there's that involved, it's full screen. There's nothing. It never takes you out of the 21 by 9 aspect ratio. There's never any flubs with resolution. And it really makes the cohesion and submersion into the game's atmosphere that much better. It's really, really good. And like I said, I would be extremely disappointed if it wasn't, because this one's kind of a gimme, I would think. It's basically walking around and looking at text, and you'll encounter some random stuff and some cool little side effects happen from picking up certain items. But other than that, it's pretty simple and straightforward. The only two things I could possibly think are 21 by 9 side effects that I don't remember from the original release. Number one, when you pick up certain items like the axe and stuff, it seems like it's a little bit more zoomed in than I remember. I could be wrong. This could be exactly what it would look like on 16 by 9, and it's just, you get more field of view. So perhaps that's an issue, but it's still a non-issue. I can see everything. It just seems like the frame placement's a little weird, but like I said, that's extremely minor. You look at these objects for 2 seconds at best and move on. And the second thing that I think is a side effect of the extended field of view is the text that pops up on the screen. So whenever your character talks, it'll, pop up these little nice stylized text strings on your screen. And if I remember from my last playthrough, it seemed like the text strings were definitely more symmetrical from the top and bottom, so you can see like it'll go from one edge of the screen to the next, and then the next line will be like 2 words, and that's not a big deal at all. There's no gameplay issues. You can read the entire thing, but I think what they do is they justify each end of the text to the corners, to the edges of your screen, and then just carry over whatever's next. So it probably looked a lot better and a lot more professional in 16 by 9, but that's like not even an issue. And I guarantee you they did that to support other aspect ratios like 4 by 3 and stuff. My only concern is, what if you're playing in like whatever's 3 times 16 by 9 is. If you're playing in triple monitor ultra wide, I don't know really why you'd want to now in this day of age with ultra wide monitors, but some people prefer that. And I just hope it doesn't stretch across all screens. That would be a extreme pain in the ass. So, but aside from that, it supports the game perfectly. And this is one of the games to play in ultra-wide, I have to say. Crysis 3 was a great little shooter tech demo. Batman Arkham Knight was really good playing through, which I still have about 10% of that game left I need to run back through. And it felt like watching a Batman movie in third person. But this is another case of a first person game that really brings to life that 21 by 9 view. And just because this game is so gorgeous, it has such high graphic fidelities. The textures, a lot of them were actually photographed and like brought in using photography. Yeah, I can't remember the fucking word. Whatever that vocabulary may be, it means they physically scan the objects in the game like they did for Star Wars Battlefront. That's why it looks incredible. But seeing all that in ultra wide, and just being in this relaxed kind of just walk around and view the scenery environment, it was insane. It was like on the verge of uncanny valley, just how realistic some of this stuff does. I guarantee you that if you play this game through on max settings, especially at a higher resolution scale, if you have some of the newer Pascal cards, you could probably screenshot this, send it to your parents or people who don't know about this game, and they will think it's real life. It's nuts. So yeah, you're not going to get a whole lot of replay value out of this game. It's a one-time through thing. It's all kinds of fucked. It's really weird, and I'm not even going to spoil any portions of the story. And it is a short, I don't know, maybe it's a $5 or $6 title now, but I think just to see it, it is one of those eye candy games that is absolutely worth just running through just to see it. And that's really all I have to say about it. It's really good on this aspect ratio. I think the optimization's improved a lot. And it's just really pretty. And I'm all about gameplay over graphics. And this doesn't have a terrible amount of gameplay. It's supposed to be like this, it's an indie. It's supposed to make you feel something, that sort of thing. So I'll give it a break on this one because it uses that graphical fidelity to do that for you. So yeah, if you want to test drive a new ultra-wide monitor or badass setup, I think this is a great game to do it with, and it won't cost you that much. Like I said, at some point it was really cheap, and it probably will be eventually if it isn't already. So, sales will be upon us eventually, so go check it out. Maybe even there will be a Halloween sale. I think this is a great game to play around Halloween, which a lot of the games I have been playing are kind of spooky or leading up to that. So I think right around now would be a great time for it. So, yeah. I recommend it. The game itself, like I said, I'm not partial to walking simulators, but this is one of the better ones that I've heard about and kind of gets the price point right for what it gives back. So yeah, go check it out if you have a 21:9 monitor, high refresh rate, and yeah, if you have any other questions about the Redux and that sort of thing, what it is versus the original, you can go check it out on. I've seen plenty of other videos on YouTube and screenshot comparisons. But if you buy you get both versions, whichever one you buy. So just play the newest one would be my recommendation. So I want to keep this video short because in the time that you watch this video, you could honestly get through a decent portion of the game. It probably wouldn't even be a factor of 10 longer, to be honest. So I just want to throw that out there, show you all this good technical stuff, and hopefully you can enjoy it on your first blind playthrough of Vanishing of Ethan Carter. It's, like I said, it's not going to make you rave about the amazing gameplay or story that had you, sleepless at night, but it is definitely a walk through just some of the best eye candy in video games to date. And this is what Unreal Engine 4 can do with this little performance impact. Oh boy, I'm looking forward to the future. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you appreciated that. Hope you got some decent information out of it. Please feel free to check out the past installations and future of ULTRAWIDE Wednesday as they come out, and hope to see you in the future with the 21:9 setup. As a side note, a commenter last time did say to try out just exporting in 21:9 because you wouldn't have to have this plugin that I'll link in the description every time to stretch it to your monitor, and I do agree with that. I found out about it afterwards. I had no idea that YouTube actually supported 21:9 natively. That is cool. But the problem is the program I use to export it doesn't support anything past 1080p. And even when I exported it in like 1920 by 810, which is the 21:9 version of that, it still added like just black to everything. It didn't work. So unfortunately for right now, you're kind of stuck with these extra black bars, but to be honest, once you stretch to the screen and take into account YouTube compression and all that shit, it's not going to do it justice anyway. You have to be in game to really see just how amazing this looks. So yeah, hopefully you guys like this. Hope to see you in a few weeks whenever we get back to another game. And like I said, tell me about your experiences with the Redux version and all that good stuff. If you have something extremely conflicting, I'd like to hear it. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.